Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video where today I get to present to you the Swedish wolf in sheep's clothing. What is the car we're looking at today? Well, let me flip the camera around. So today we are looking at the top spec Volvo EX90 twin motor ultra performance. That's right, it's got a very long name, but it is a full 7-seater SUV. It is 100% electric. And so let me tell you some high-level details about this car before we go through everything. So first things first, as I said, top spec. So let's talk pricing. So this car, as it is from $134,990 for the entry level. This being the top spec adds $10,000 on top, which means it's $134,990 plus on-road costs, which means drive away in New South Wales private registration. You're talking borderline $151,000. And so what do you get with the car? Let's go through high-level specs, and then I'll start to go through all of the detailed things in it. So in terms of high-level specs, and again, I'll flip the camera around just so you have more of a view of the car. Okay, so in terms of high-level specs, what we're looking at is essentially a 5-meter car, so 5037. I'll put the rest of the dimensions up on screen for you. 380 kilowatts, 910 newton meters of torque, 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds. It's got a 111 kilowatt hour NMC battery. It weighs nearly 3 tons, 2,800 kilograms roughly. I'll put the exact kilograms on screen for you. And in terms of range, it's got a WLTP rating of 570 kilometers. Other cool things in this top spec, besides having the very, very quick motor, it's got a LiDAR on top, which we'll go through in a moment. It's got big wheels, it's got air suspension, and most of all, it's a Volvo. And I say that because everyone always associates how safe a Volvo is. Now, that's about it for the summary. So I know that there's going to be a lot in this video. So as always, I love to do detailed reviews. So first things first, if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell icon so that you get notified every time I upload a big review, so that you know everything about the car that I'm looking at. And so also a big shout out to my YouTube subscribers, YouTube members, coffee members, viewers, anyone. As long as you're watching the video, you're definitely supporting my channel. So anyways, that is pretty much the summary for the car. So let's not hold things up. Let's start getting through to the first section of the video. Also, as my reviews are always going to be very long, very, very detailed, please make sure you skip directly to whichever section that you see over here that you want to see. Chapter codes are pretty much there, so you can just click straight to it and it takes you directly there to the relevant section. So let's go. So let's look at the front. So look at that. What do you think of the front? I personally love the design of Volvo, but yeah, so you've got Thor Hammer signature headlights, as they call it. In this spec, as I said, there is a matrix LED, so I'll overlay this lighting sequence when you unlock the car, or hopefully we can see that in a moment. But at the front, you can see over here, hopefully the camera can focus there, it says high definition pixel technology. So that's only in the top spec there. You've got down over here, tow hook. Those are to wash your headlights. Then you've got parking sensors around the car. Because it's an EV, you've got also active vents over here. Otherwise, it's pretty much fully enclosed so that you've got good aerodynamics. Swinging back over to this side, it's pretty much the same setup over here, with the exception you don't have the tow hook over here. Very, very big bonnet, as you can see. And then the other thing that you may have noticed at the top over there is this car has LiDAR. Now I'm only going to hold it to the side so you can see that little bump over there. That's essentially to help with the car's autonomous features, or autonomous driving features. Now, word of caution, because it is LiDAR, don't go zooming your camera in because you'd probably destroy your camera, but yeah, that's basically it. Just word of caution, I guess. Also, one thing I forgot to mention actually straight up is this color is called Vapor Grey. So it's a cross between, how would I explain it? Think of it sort of like a silvery grey color. It is metallic, but under certain lights, it kind of looks like it might be a matte type finish, but it is essentially a pastel type color. Now, for the Porsche enthusiasts, this color is probably more similar to crayon. There is a BYD that also has a similar color, and then for the Audi enthusiasts, it's similar to Nardo Grey, except this is a bit lighter and a bit more metallic than Nardo Grey. Alright, and let's swing around to the side. So starting off with the wheels first of all. So they are 22-inch in this top spec model, and they are Pirelli Scorpions. In terms of size, so at the front is 265/40 R22s, so 40 profile at 22-inch. And then the back over here, much bigger. So you've got 295/35 R22, so 35 profile at the rear and 40 profile at the front, which means that the ratio is thinner over here in terms of size. So jumping to the rest of the side of the vehicle, so we've got cameras underneath, so one right there and one over here as well, and then you've got the beautiful frameless finish on the side mirrors that Geely Group is known to have. So look at that, and then hopefully you can see if I move the camera up on this angle here, right there is the blind spot warning light. So that's essentially the side mirror. So this is in gloss black, and yes, it does fold. Then panning the camera out, you can see you've got door handles over here, so when the car is unlocked, these do actually pop out, otherwise they pretty much stay flat for aerodynamics. You can hopefully see between the front glass and the rear glass does have privacy glass, so nothing in the front. Then you've got some over here. So swing around to the back, you've got your tow hook point right over here. You've got some parking sensors that are kind of hidden down the bottom apron of the car, and then it's pretty much a clean rear. Other than that, you've got your camera, which is right over here. Hopefully you can see that right there. And then you've got your big rear windscreen wiper as well. There's a button to open the boot just above the number plate, just underneath over there. And then you've got badging over here for the car. EX90 Twin Performance. So from the rear, you'll actually know the difference between the models if you see the white badge. So the white badge is for the top spec, the black badge is for the entry-level spec. And then of course LED lighting that goes all the way around, and then on the sides over here as well. So that's essentially the rear. And then swing around to this side, look, it's pretty much the same as the other side, with exception to you have this over here, which is a manual port for your charging. So AC DC, so DC is up to 250 kilowatts, AC 11, and yeah, it's on the curbside, which is really good. So we'll swing back around. And so before we go on to the next part of the video, let's just have a quick look and admire the Vapor Grey color again. So what I didn't mention in the start was, this is Vapor Grey. You do have 6 colors to choose from, black being standard. I'll put all the colors on screen for you to see. But this is called Vapor Grey. And the one thing I forgot to mention in relation to the LiDAR, believe it or not, they have said that apparently this LiDAR is accurate up to 250 meters, whether day or night, down to centimeter level. Is that not pretty impressive? I mean, I'm not into the specifics or the science on how this works. I know roughly how it works, but down to centimeter level, that's pretty impressive. But 250 meters, they say day and night. So there you go. Our final walk around again, just before we move on to the next part of the video. So let's cue the music, let's go. Now let's unlock the vehicle. Now, as I said, it should actually detect my phone as I walk up to it, but you can also have a look at the app over here, and you can actually also manually unlock it as well through this screen over here. I'm actually pretty close to it now, so I haven't seen it unlock as yet. Alright, so let's actually just hit unlock. and I'll show you what the sequence looks like. So phone just says that it's currently unlocking. There you go, and you'll see that the door handles all pop out over here. Now before we look at the interior, I just want to quickly show you the keys. Yep, that's it. 2 cards. So you do have access to a phone app as well, which can detect you when you're close to the car, and it will self-present the door handles. However, if you don't, these are the keys you need, and you just tap it onto the right side of the door handle, and then it unlocks and presents the door handles here for you. Otherwise, as I said, you need to use the app. So let's open this up over here. Now just a quick glance before I show you everything else. So you'll see that it's a black interior, and this is basically what the door looks like. So in terms of trim, so this is in ventilated charcoal Nordico seat upholstery with a birch wood decor interior. So the birch wood is this bit over here. Very, very nice. And then you'll also see the lovely Bowers and Wilkins sound system. More on that later. Anyways, I'll put this window down just to show you something else, which is a reason why they can make this car so quiet on the inside. So let me see if I can get the camera to focus. Hopefully you can see that there. You will notice down over here, it is dual pane glass. So that's 2 panels stuck together. So it really does hold out the noise. And then it is full frame, of course. So it's not single pane, it's not frameless, so it definitely holds out the noise. So the rest of the door, what else do you see? So you see obviously speakers everywhere. You've got your usual controls down over here. So this is to open and close the door, that's or windows. Now this one here, you'll see the lighting, or hopefully you can see the lighting on the front over there. So you actually need to push that to then adjust the back windows. So you actually don't have 4 buttons. So you've got 2 buttons, and you need to switch in between each one. And then lock and unlock is a button that you have to push. It's all digital, so you can't lock it now because the door's open, but you do need to push them in. Door handle, and then I guess umbrella pocket, bottle holder, whatever you want to call that. Okay, let's look at the seats. So Volvo have always been known to have a really nice seat. So let's start at the top. And also, hopefully you can see that right there, Bowers and Wilkins as well. So there are speakers in here as well. So let's pan down slowly to show you how nice the seat is. So remember, in the top spec you do have ventilated seats as well. So I'm just panning first before I talk more and tell you more about the seats. So this is heated and cooling in this seat. You'll see that the side bolsters over here, they are electronically adjustable, which is fantastic. You also do have lumbar support too. You also do have massage seats as well as a part of this. In terms of the side, you've just got these adjustments here. So you can rotate, you can go back, forward, and pushing this goes to change some of the settings for setup, which I'll cover off a bit later. And then you've also got this section over here to pull this section out further or not, depending on how you'd like to sit. So this bit here does feel a little bit loose when you pull it out, but it does feel very supportive when you do pull it out. And then in terms of down here, what do you have? So pedals, you've got OBD port, you've got this to pull the frunk, and that's about it on this side. It's very clean, no other buttons, and you've also got your manual aircon vent over here. So let's get in and I'll show you everything else. Alright, we are now inside the car. So the car is very quiet. Just for reference, 69%, 290 kilometers left on range. Let's do a quick pan from right to left to begin with. And so starting on the right, manual air vents over here, manual air vents everywhere, which is great, so you can actually control it knowing wherever you want to face it. Then this one here, heads up display, will have a separate section on that as well, so you can see that in more detail. And then something quirky, you actually do have this in all of the EX90s. So what is that for? That's to put parking tickets. So very, very handy. Then let's start with the steering wheel section. So this car is always on, which is a very big plus. There is no need to turn on the car itself. It's always on, which means that you can have your aircon permanently on. If you're sitting in the car, you can listen to music. You don't need to push any other buttons. But starting on this side, so you've got your usual gear control levers, and if you pull down, that's to activate your cruise control. And then park is on this side over here. That is a small screen. I think it's a 7 or an 8-inch screen, and it's about a 15-inch screen over here. Then further up, you've got a main screen over here along with the heads-up display further up, and then you've got your main screen over here. Otherwise, on the left over here, you'll see indicators, high beams, auto high beams, then windscreen wiper, and then over here on the left, you've got windscreen wiper spray. So this here you can twist to turn your windscreen wiper on manually as well, and then these are to push the rear on off, and if you hold it down, then it's to spray. Then in terms of the steering wheel, so voice assistant, volume up, down, songs, forward, backwards, or to change radio stations. You'll see over here that's steering assist. Then it's to go up, down in terms of cruise control speed, and then that just flicks through the different menu options for the car over here. And then you've got the main screen, which we'll cover off in terms of the infotainment section a bit later. Other things that are very prominently obvious is that beautiful speaker right there. So you'll notice that the finish is very, very nice. This metal grille, I've never heard a sound system like it. Like, it honestly is absolutely one of the best, if not the best I've ever heard. Absolutely amazing when you pump up the music. But anyways, on to the rest of the interior. So what do we see? Actually, before that, I am just going to turn on my cooling seats, because funny enough, we finally have sunshine in Sydney and I am really hot in here. So we've gone through the steering wheel. We'll go through the functions here in a moment. I just want to show you the rest of the interior here. So over here you have a charging port with vents. Now with this charging port, this is also where you need to put the key in terms of the card. So if you don't have the phone app and you want to start the car, you actually need to put the key here first in order to start the car, and then you can put your phone here. 2 cup holders here. Unfortunately, it will not support your bigger bottles. Look at that. It is almost fitting, but it unfortunately doesn't. So for me, I actually have to just keep it like that. Either way, not a biggie. You've got adapters that you can get, and this does actually pull to cover off and give it a clean finish. So it's not spring loaded or anything, so you can pull it halfway, all the way, 3/4, whatever it is you want. Got a dial here just for your music, and then just to start stop. And also, I think if you hold this down for 30 seconds, it restarts the car or restarts the screen everywhere. Other than that, further down over here, you've got 2 USB-C ports, and then you've got a bunch of space here to potentially put takeaway, tissue box, whatever it is you need to store in this area, even if it's a handbag. Then coming up over here, so there's a little button over here to pull, so that one right there. Once you push that in, you will see this is the storage space that you get, and it is lit up. So it's actually 2 levels. So there's one there. Now I'll put my bottle there. That will give you an indication of how much space there is. And then further down, you can flip that there for the second compartment that goes further in. So there isn't a USB-C charger or anything at all in here. So it's just plain space. So that's that. And then you've got the glove box on this side over here. So in order to open the glove box, there is no actual manual button over there. You actually do need to open it here. I think it's on this car settings here, and then glove box right there. Okay, so let me show you this in more detail. So that's pretty much the space you're working with, and then you do have the manual that is in here, so it just slides into that section right there. So very handy. And yeah, that's a space. I'd say you can fit a tiny tissue box. It does kind of bend down into a triangle shape, so you definitely can't put anything big, but it does go in quite far. So electronic latch. And that's basically it. And another final look over here at the front seats. I can confirm they are very good. And then at the top over here, we've got a big mirror with a LED light. You also do have the same on your side as well as the driver. And let's see if it moves to the side. Yes, it does extend as well, which is great. Then at the top over here, you'll see that you've got a shortcut to demisting functions for your windscreens. You've got a couple of buttons here. So lighting, you've got SOS, you've got, what else? You've got your hazard lights, manual light switches, pretty much whatever you need as necessities at the top over there. And then you've got the screen, which, as I said, I'll cover off in a second. And then at the top, you've got a couple of things, I guess, key things that you may need to access, like SOS, some lighting, hazard lights, and also a shortcut to demist your screens or defog your screens. And then over here, this is self-dimming or auto-dimming. It is not a camera-based system of any sort, so you are looking at a physical mirror that does dim automatically. And then the top, look at that very big glass roof. So there is no cover at all, no sunshade. There is an accessory that you can buy, I've been told. I don't know how much it is, but you can buy a shade. Right now, I don't feel too hot in it, but having owned a car for a while with a glass roof, I would say this would potentially get hot. So something you may want to consider in the future if it is a car that you own. But if you look at it from this angle here, it is quite nice, and you can tell it is somewhat tinted as well. But yeah, if you've got any questions about the front, let me know. Otherwise, let's jump over to the second row and I'll show you what that's all about. All right, so let's have a look at the second row. Very heavy door, and let's start off with looking at this. All right, so hopefully you can see that as well. So just confirming that the rear is also double pane glass, full frame as well. Excuse that squeak, it's been wet over here. All right, so on the side, what do you have? So I don't know if you can fit a bottle. You could fit one of those thin bottles, but not a full-size bottle for sure. And then you've just got handles, speakers, exit latch over here, and then of course your window. And then in terms of the door, lovely Bowers & Wilkins speaker. You've got your handle to get out, door handle to pull in, and also your usual window adjustment button over here. And then here is this seat right there. Now the amazing thing with this car is it is a 40-20-40 fold, meaning all three can be adjusted individually to your heart's content. So that also helps with people sitting in the third row. So again, this is what the seat looks like. Now in this spec, the outer ones I believe are heated. The middle person still misses out as well. But you do have a fair bit of space. So that's my driving position. This is pretty much the same position. So you can see that's how much space you have right there. And it's pretty much a flat floor, which is great. And the cool thing with this interior is for this middle seat, and this is usually a Volvo thing. So first of all, you've got this here, which you can fold and unfold to be a cup holder or a bottle holder, or just the armrest. But this section over here, there's a latch over here. Actually, let me show you that right there. So if I pull that latch, it loosens this bit and I can click that in. So that is a built-in booster seat for the child in the middle. So what does that mean? That means that if you've got a child in a booster seat, you actually don't need to install one. So that's actually pretty cool. So I'll put this back in here and let me get in the car and I'll show you what else is around. Okay, so remember, I am in the car at the moment. I am 172 centimeters, so plenty of space. This is how realistically I would sit in the car normally. Me stretching out to here, my legs are actually uncomfortable, but it's just to demonstrate how much space I have. You can also see, even if it was tight, you can see that this actually goes in over here on two sides, and that just supports your knees if it was up close, similar to this. So you've got fabric mesh pockets on both sides over here. You've got some controls down over here. Now it's a bit glary over here because that's like gloss black, but hopefully you can see heated seats on both sides, temperature up down, fan up down, and you've got your manual air vent controls over here. So you can go up to 3 fan speeds, which is low, medium, high, and the temperature you can adjust as well per individual side. So it is a 4-zone climate control. So 4-zone, but then the rear basically gets what the second row gets as well. Now, other than the air vents down there, you also do have air vents over here as a second point, which I'm very grateful for. And you've got it on that side over there as well. And then you've got speakers, you've got a clothing hook over there, and you've got lighting over there, which is the same that's been replicated over here. Let me flip the camera around. Let me show you how comfortable or not comfortable I am. Look, there is a lot of space above. There's no way I will be hitting my head up here, nor on the side over here. Like if I turned my head, the most is probably I'd hit this one, but that's going like really far across. In terms of space for me and comfort, well, hopefully you can see that. My shoulder is, I guess, resting on this third seat here, or this middle seat over here. But it's not leaning over by too much, so I think you could definitely fit three people okay. 3 kids, absolutely no problems. 3 people like my size, you'd probably be a little bit on the squashier side, but you'd still be somewhat okay, because worst case, I could sit a little bit to the left, and you look at that, I'm actually pretty much at the borderline. So yeah, not the end of the world, and there is still a lot of space. And the best thing, as I said, is all 3 of these are adjustable individually. So if I want to lean back more than this person could totally do that. I could also pull my seat much more forward. So let me flip the camera around and let me show you. So for this one down here, there's a latch down the bottom over here. So if I pull that, and I pull that all the way forward, this is how much space they've got here. Now, are you going to be comfortable? Look, I'll be honest, you're going to be pretty tight, but you can also give the back person a lot more space as well. So I'll show you that in a moment. So let's do 3 different levels of adjustment. I will pull my seat. So my seat is all the way back. This one here is about halfway, and then this one is the furthest back, and I'll show you how much space there is in the 3rd row. But this pretty much completes the 2nd row, so if you have any questions, please make sure you drop it in the comments below. Oh, and what I can say about ergonomics is getting out of this car is actually pretty good. Look, if I get out, as soon as I come down, I'm pretty much there. It's not like I'm dropping and falling down at all, so it's actually not too bad. Alright, so let's have a look at the 3rd row. So how do we get in? So remember, these are the settings, okay, the 3 different levels or distance that I've got. You've got a latch over here, which essentially you pull that and it folds the seat down. This one here is actually for the 3rd row to fold that, so it's actually not to move that seat as well. And then you've also got a latch. Let me just adjust the camera. You've got one over here as well. So this one does both. So this one here is just to fold, so I'll show you. So if I pull this one down, you'll see that just folds it right there. So you got kids, you technically could just step here, step up there, and then climb on in. Now with the distance between the one that has the least space to the most space, let me actually show you how much space you've got in the 3rd row. So let's start by looking down there. So hopefully you can see that okay, versus this one here with the least space. So I've got no idea whether or not I can fit at all in the third row, but I just wanted to demonstrate if the furthest seat is that far forward, how much space do we have back there. So let's have a look in a minute. Anyways, as I said, this first one over here is just to fold that flat. So if you had this seat folded down and you wanted to put things as a pass-through, you could definitely do that. So I'll give you an example. Okay, so over here, if I push this button over here, fold the left, so that kind of shows you in terms of pass-through what we're looking at. And then if you just want to fold it back up, you just need to hold that down. Once you hear that, that'll fold back up. You do need to manually fold the headrest up though, but it does release when you do that down. And yeah, that's basically the third row. So let's try and get in. In order to get in though, I will have to pull this seat back up. And that was by holding that latch down here. And it's this one that we need to pull right there. So if I pull that, you'll see that it's kind of disconnected this bottom bit as well, right there. And then it moves like that. So that's what it looks like, and this is your space. So there's not too much of a distance, like your typical 7-seater 3-row SUV to get up. I will say though, because it's a pretty big car, if I open the door, the first click is right there. So bear in mind that I've kind of parked right in the middle of two spots that you can see there. So this is a standard parking space. So in order to open the first latch, you are technically already over. So what I would recommend is dropping off people in the third row earlier on, or dropping them off elsewhere and then parking. But let's get in. So that's a space again in terms of what we're working with. So it's a pretty big step from the ground up to here. You may want to potentially step on here instead, but doing this all for you. Oh, all right. It is a little harder to get in than I thought. Oh, and I am really squashed getting in here. Okay, and one thing I forgot to do was move the third headrest up. All right, anyways, I have come in here after trying to mess about. So I did hit my shoulders on the two sides over here because it's a 40-20-40, only that one folded. So that's why I hit myself over here. Anyways, with this seat setting, let me actually close the door first and I will show you realistically how much space we have in here. Okay, we have closed the door. Now, moment of truth. Let's pour this in. Okay, so remember what I said earlier on about the space? So in the second row, that is pushed forward the most, which means that that should have the most space in the third row. This one is middle, and this one is the furthest back. So furthest back, I can tell you right now that this seat is actually on my foot. Am I comfortable? Short distance, I'll be okay. Long distance, that's my leg right there. I would really want to stretch out eventually at some point. Yeah, it's pretty much a snug there. And you can see that my shoe is actually touching the back here. So I actually can't really move it other than that. Then over here, this is the second side. So again, this bit sticks out over here. There's an air vent over here, I think, but that's pretty much how much I can move. And then the third one, we'll try that as well. So just moving in. That's definitely much better. I think the good compromise realistically is this middle one. So this one, you've obviously got more space to move, but I know for a fact that the person up front is going to be fairly squashed. So I would personally say you could move it back a little bit, similar to this one, and you'd be okay. This middle one, actually, you probably may, if you've got big feet, you probably won't be too comfortable, because if you actually look, this actually sticks out a bit further, which means you've got less leg space to move. Like that much difference, if you can see that. But you can still move it this way a little bit. But overall, like if I was in a long road trip, would I be comfortable? I am not too sure I would be fully comfortable. My left leg, I think, is probably the squashiest because it's sitting on my foot. For kids, I don't think you'd have a problem at all. And also, as a reminder, you've got 3 tether points as well, and these 2 are ISO fixed as well. Now, in terms of the rear, so let me show you this side first. So there's no blinds or anything at all, or sunshades, I forgot to mention. You do have USB-C port over here. You've got a cup holder here and a little bit of storage over here. You've got tie hooks here, which is, I guess, for your normal boot space. You do have a aircon vent here, which I think is absolutely needed, along with lighting and a clothing hook over here. And then you've also got an airbag over here as well. So same with this side, you've got lighting, hook, and you've also got aircon down over here. No blinds. And you've got cup holder, storage, and USB-C port over here. And remember, this is only a 2-seater at the back to complete 7 seats. So that's the seat. And let me see if I can hold the camera out to show how I am in the 3rd row. So that's squashing my fist. So I'd say 3 fingers above my head at 172 centimeters. Or if I'm fitting my hand, my whole hand, so this is my wrist is touching above my head. Look, plenty of space left and right. I think that's okay, not an issue. And in terms of width, I think, yeah, no issues. I think I'm actually okay. So you can see I'm not really going over that side. So I think the back 2 people, from a space-wise at the top, I think we're okay. I think the issue really comes down to your configuration with the people in front in the 2nd row. But you know what? That isn't just a problem for this car. Like, it's a problem for every 3-row SUV. That's just the way they are. And so it's just something for you to take into consideration. So realistically for me, if I'm sitting like this, I'm somewhat okay short distance, long distance. I think with any 3-row SUV, you're going to want to have a stretch. And thankfully, because this is an EV, you'll get a good stretch when you need to charge your car. But yeah, that's basically the 3rd row. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, let's go look at the boot. Let's go look at the frunk with seats folded, unfolded, and whatnot. So let's go. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to show you how it's like to actually get out in this car. You get the POV. So I'll flip the camera around. Alright, so this is the space that we're dealing with. Let me show you first. That's the space we've got at the front. Okay, so you'd shuffle and scoot across to the curbside. Then over here, pull that up, push that out of the way. There's no shortcut to actually pull this one, just so you're all aware. You've actually got a latch over there to pull if you want the space to get out. So move your leg like this. Try and scoot and pull your body out. Now, what I meant before, I will actually show you. I'll be vulnerable. So look, like my body literally hits this trying to get out. Like if I was like this, that would hit me. So I have to actually go like this to get out. And yes, I'm well aware I am a bigger person, but you know, this is the reality. I want to show you how it's like potentially owning this car. So let me actually try and pull this button over here and get this one out of the way. Oh yes, that's much better. So let me show you. This is what we're dealing with now. Much more space to get out. Alright, and then you need to obviously watch out that you don't smack the car that's next to you. So pull the latch, and yes, I'm pretty much squatting right now. So that's probably it if I don't want to hit the car. If there's no cars next to me, then by all means, swing it forward. So to get out, I would be kind of standing on this standing on this, holding here, and then jumping out. What a mission. But you know what? In all seriousness, depends on how often you're going to be having 7 people in the car and using that third row, and whether or not they're adults. Because if it was kids, they'd love climbing in. I can guarantee you that. Anyways, that is the summary of everything that we've looked at. So let's pull this one back, and then let's pull this one back, and that is the second row. Okay, let's have a look at the boot. So apparently, I don't know if it's on or not, but apparently you can also kick it. So let's kick it. Ooh, look at that. That was actually pretty responsive. Let's see if we can close it. Kick. Oh, look at that. Very responsive. So one kick and that's it. Now, in terms of the button, that may look like there's a button right there, but it's actually not. The button is actually, let me make sure the camera can see, is actually right here. So if you push that, that actually opens. But let's try kick it again. Instant. Love it. Alright, and then of course you've got your lock and close right there. Now this is the boot space. I wanted to bring a cooler bag, shopping bag, to show you how much space you actually do have, along with a Bunnings umbrella. Now first things first, I am going to put up the dimensions, and in terms of litres and space that you have for the boot with third row up and down, and whatever other information I can find, I will put as an overlay on screen. But first things first, let's go through what you get at the top. So you've got a parcel shelf over here, which, look, covers a little bit, covers the top. If you've got 3 rows, you know, it still keeps things cool down here, which is great. You can also see the rail that extends over there, so you've got the third row down that can push all the way back as well. In terms of the side, so you've got this over here, which is cigarette lighter port. You've also got air suspension to go up, down, and also to fold the seats over here. So as an example, let's fold down the left side, so it's electronic. There you go. And this is all the space that you've got. So Bunnings umbrella, this is up to the edge, so you can see plenty of space. So once I've pushed that to touch the other seat, that's how much more space you've got over here. So plenty of space. And then remember, all you need to do is hold that down again, and then it just pops back up, which is great. Now I'm going to fold both down just so I can actually just move my bag and I can show you what's underneath over here. So let's get that out of the way. Alright, so as I said, that's how much space you have if you fold down the third row seats. Let's lift this up, and you can see you've got heaps more space here. So if I lift this up, that's basically all of it. So it's actually fairly decent, fairly deep. And then this here is a Volvo AC slow charger. So you just plug that into your normal power point outlet, and then other side is a AC power point right there. So that's to get your 11 kilowatts. But that's basically the inside underneath. And then you've got a little bit of storage or extra space over here, LED lighting over here. You've also got a hook over here that just rotates across. It's pretty funky. And you've got the same thing over here. And this thing you can actually remove. You can take off the entire thing, and it looks like you might be able to store it right there. That comes across to there, and the tray sits on top there. So plenty of space as well. So let's move this back, and I want to show you in terms of shopping bag space. So, and you can see that they open up fairly quickly as well. So in terms of shopping bag space, now remember, these don't recline any further, but you've got 1, 2, 3, I reckon you could fit 4 to 5 bags in the boot. Obviously, if you fit it like this, you could fit probably 3 across, and you could fit another 3 across here, so you could do 6 in total. But that is basically the boot. And remember, you could always close and open through kicking the boot, which is very, very handy. But yeah, that's basically everything. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below. Now let's look at the air suspension easy access in the boot. So in this part of the video, I want to show you the air suspension control from the back of the car over here. So there's a control over here in which you could push up or down just to make things easier to lift into the boot. So look at that. So that's gone all the way down, I believe. And then let's push it all the way up. And it works pretty quick. So push down again. And up. And yes, that makes quite a significant difference actually in the back. Let's have a look at the frunk. So we've got that there. Once we pull that latch, there's a latch that we've got to unlock somewhere, so it looks like this one here. Okay, so just a reminder, latch over here, just need to do that, pull that up, and that's it. So here you go, this is pretty much everything you've got. So safety triangle, tyre repair kit, which is Velcro strapped down, and then yeah, I think you could fit a small backpack in here. You could definitely fit cables there. I don't think you'd fit the Coles shopping bag. You could put a few items there, but that's probably about it. And then this is hard plastic, but it is sealed, so I guess that's good in terms of protecting things from the weather. And then you've got your windscreen wiper fluid that you fill up from here with a funnel. And it looks like they've also got this here for bonnet protection. So it looks like that might be an actuator to pop the bonnet up as well. So that's basically the frunk. So let's look through the Volvo app. So I'm going to have this here. So this is a Volvo app that's been installed. They've given this to us so I can actually show you what it's like so that we don't have to set it up on our own phone. So there's a Volvo Cars app. Open that up. Basically, this is the home screen for what you see, which is essentially the vehicle with the status of unlocked. There's also the fan, which you can actually look through here. So now it says climate is not running, 17% at car. You've then got timers on the right, which you can hit add a timer. So whatever time you plan to leave, you can select the dates. You can select to repeat weekly if you'd like as a routine, or cancel out of that. So that's essentially just to precondition your vehicle. In this now section, there's an up arrow on the bottom right and start. So basically it's just start stop to start the climate control. Then we've got the charge port down the bottom. So it's showing you that it's currently unplugged. Target level is 100%. Location settings. So you can add settings to current location, which I believe is just different percentages. So here you go. Amp limit, minimum battery level, manual schedules, smart charging. So you can add all of that through the app, which is fantastic. So that's it on this section here. Otherwise, you see the location of where the car is, the current temperature, the battery percentage with estimated range. Jumping through to the next one there is just location. So where do you want to go? You can search for whatever it is you need to put in. Then you've got car details, so driving journal. You can turn on trips log, which helps you log all of your trips wherever you go, along with driving insights and consumption. You can see here average consumption 23 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is on the thirstier side, and odometer on the car is just over 5,500 kilometers. General maintenance for the car, so if I tick on that, you can just open the manual to have a look, but it's just saying everything looks good at the moment. Then you've got plug and charge settings to automatically charge at supported stations. Car software, let's check out what car details is. So just the VIN number and the weight. And then active services, just saying that connected services is currently active. Then the next menu item is just how can we help you, so contacting road assistance, and then general profile settings. But that's about it for the Volvo app. So basically they cover the necessities only. So the overall summary is door lock functions, climate control functions, charging functions. That's basically the three key things, and of course using it as a phone key. So I think phone key is absolutely a must have, and I think whilst it's, I guess, more of the minimalist version, if we call it that, in terms of the app functions, I think they've covered off the definite key ones that's very important to have in an EV. Okay, so let's talk about servicing and ownership. So servicing, you've got 5 years covered as a part of owning this car, or up to 150,000 kilometers. Note that's for private only. If you use things like for business and Uber, I think there's either an exclusion or there's something else that was mentioned. I'll make sure I put it up on screen just so you can see that. Service interval though is every 30,000 kilometers or 2 years. So whichever one comes first. So that's actually not too bad. You know, it's not every 6 months or even every 12 months. It's every 2 years unless you do more than 30,000 kilometers. And then other than that, your warranty and roadside is 5 years for each of them. So that pretty much sums it up. So they've got it nice and easy, pretty much 5 years. It's covered as part of the car with the distance as an alternate measure. So let's talk about competitors. We're just going to talk about it based on price because a lot of these cars are very, very different. The closest competitors for this car, so remember, let's talk about the price to begin with. This car is $124,990 plus on-road costs. This spec that we're driving in today is $134,990 plus on-road costs, which means you've got a driveway price of about $151,000. Your closest competitors in terms of a 7-seater SUV in this shape with doors that open traditionally, you've got two cars. You've got the Kia EV9 in GT line spec, which is the top spec. That's about $121,000 plus on-road costs, which means that's about $140,000. Don't quote me on the exact figure. But it is essentially about $3,000 to $4,000 less than the entry level for this Volvo. And that's the top spec Kia. And then you've got the Ioniq 9, the Hyundai Ioniq 9. Now that car hasn't officially been released on the roads as yet, but is coming very, very soon. And again, that's also going to be a similar price to the EV9 GT line. And so what does that mean? From a pricing perspective, obviously before negotiations, this is at a higher price point. But you're talking about the same category, same type of vehicle. 7-seater SUV that's built premium. It's a top spec cars and very capable of taking 7 people. And the main thing really is it's an SUV shape, which means the doors open like your traditional cars. So those are the three key competitors. In terms of luxury build quality and everything, is it worth it? Is this worth the money over those? Look, if you are after specific luxury creature comforts, I think it is, especially the sound system. And we'll get more to the things I like and don't like about this car so that you can make the judgment for yourself. Now, we have driven the Kia EV9 GT line on this channel before, so please make sure if you want to know more about that car in particular, jump over to that video on my channel and you'll be able to see that as well. The Ioniq 9 we haven't got our hands on as yet, so sometime in the near future, so can't really comment on that. So those are the two key competitors. We're basing it on exactly the same. Now, you've also got competitors that are, I guess, in the more than 5 seats side of things. So some of the cars I'm talking about that don't necessarily fit the shape in terms of this comparison, I've got the list over here, but I'll put it up on screen as well so you can see. So we've got already mentioned the EV9 GT line, you've got the Ioniq 9, the other 7-seaters we're talking about, you've got your Mercedes EQS, your Mercedes EQB. Now EQS is literally almost 2 times the price of this car. It's from about $200,000. EQB is around $100,000, so significant less, and the rear third row is almost non-existent in terms of the space, so it's not comparing apples with apples. Then in terms of the people mover or the van type shape, Zeekr 009, LDV Mifa 9, Volkswagen ID Buzz. Now, I know there are cars that are potentially coming in the future that have more seats as well. I'm just comparing whatever is available in the market right now, which are all those vehicles. And so the Zeekr 009, luxury MPV, similar cost. It works out to be about $150,000 on roads before negotiations. ODV MIFA 9 is about the same as well. I think it's $140 something thousand for the top spec. ID Buzz works out to be, I think, just under $130,000 drive away in the top spec GTX as well. I haven't driven most of those, so I actually can't comment, and I don't want to do wrong by you as the viewer to say whether or not they are better or not. However, from a luxury standpoint, the ones that do stand out to me at this point in time, based on spec reading, the Mercedes EQS, absolutely, and the Zeekr 009. But, as I said, they are totally different types of cars, so I personally can't put them into the same bucket as a comparison. I genuinely consider this one as a competition, or as a competitor, to the Kia EV9 GT line, and also the Hyundai iX9. Also, don't forget that the EV9 GT is potentially coming. I don't know if it's confirmed, but they definitely are making one, and it's been spotted overseas as well. So, yeah, that's basically the competitors that they're pitching up against. And so if it is one that you're after, then make sure you check out those vehicles as well. Okay, so let's talk consumption and efficiency for this car. So this car, as I said, has a 111 kilowatt hour NMC battery. So NMC batteries, traditionally they say you should charge to 80 to 90%, and you shouldn't usually charge it to 100 unless you need it on road trips. So over the past couple of days, you can see here, average is 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I've covered off 101 kilometers, 3 hours 34 spent in the car, 29 k's is the average driving speed. And you can see that that's 83% of the driving. So it hasn't been me sitting here idling, 83% of it actually. And that's at 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So in terms of the reported 22, usually they say high achievers are good, but in this instance, high achiever is actually not as good. And we are overachieving what has been stated on the spec sheet. But that is not a surprise because you know that's usually just the average. And again, this is just based on my driving, my limited driving, my driving habits. I haven't taken it to the highway yet. It's been city traffic driving as well, and that's my consumption. So you may potentially experience something different, but I just thought to share. This is the efficiency that I have experienced myself. All right, it's time to talk about the things I like and I don't like about the car. So let's start with the things I like about the car. So the first thing I like is the sound system, the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. I didn't think I'd actually enjoy it this much, but my goodness. So first of all, it looks absolutely amazing. Okay, look at that. It looks so good. And then in your settings, if you tap into the Bowers & Wilkins settings, there's a whole heap of things you can change. So listen in, you can go studio, Gothenburg, concert hall and stage to test the music. Your system, so Bowers & Wilkins Technologies, so it gives you information on it. It's got Dolby Atmos immersive sound as well. And in terms of the system, so again, this is only in the top spec, or else I think you can option it in the entry level. 3D surround sound with Dolby Atmos capability, 25 speakers, 1610 watts, 25 channel amplifier. And then when you go down to here, you've got more details over there as well. Then when you are talking about this section in your system, you can actually turn the car based on different settings, and it actually tells you the different types of speakers and the location of them. So you can actually swing around and it tells you all the types of speakers that it's actually got, including subwoofers as well. And I can confirm that it is on another level. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, based on this, you can kind of set whatever it is that you want as a part of the music. And yeah, the experience has been absolutely amazing. Now, besides the Bowers & Wilkins section there, in your settings, you've also got sound settings. So once you tap on that, you can see here, you've got studio, stage, and Abbey Road. So studio, you've got all of these things here, which is essentially just see where you want the focus points to be. You've got tone and equalizer, which is self-explanatory, along with the volume. For stage, you can choose between 3D surround or concert hall. And then Abbey Road, you can set all of these different ones. And you can also open up Abbey Road, which is pretty much like a studio. And you can see wherever or whatever type of music you want and where you want the vocals to be focused on. So heaps and heaps of settings that you can set. Now, as I said, I'm no audiophile, no audio enthusiast, but what I do enjoy is good beats, good bass, and loud clarity. And I can absolutely assure you that this is on par, if not better, than what I've experienced in our Tesla Model Y Performance. Yeah, the car will shake. Let's put it that way. At 25 speakers, the car will shake. So very, very good. The second thing I like is the comfort of these seats and the fact that it's just got so many points of adjustability and that you've got massage seats as well. So the button on the side, if I turn that on, you'll see that it's got basic adjustments over here. So I can twist, I can adjust whatever it is that I want very, very easily. Then I can click on that and then it goes to the next one, which is tilt and lumbar support. And then I can also do side bolster support as well. So all of that I can just scroll through the button on the side. And then I've also got massage functions. So I've got wave, I've got tread, combined, lower back and shoulders, and different speeds and intensity as well. And so when you've got that on, even though it's soft and it feels like an air cushion, it's actually on the harder side. So it actually feels like something is kneading into your back. So yeah, from a safety side, it says only 20 minutes, but it does show up and it does have a pop-up box to restart it if you want. But my goodness, like, I'm lost for words. This is so nice. I will really struggle going back to a normal car after this, especially with heated seats, ventilated seats, lumbar support, massage as well. So good. So many levels of adjustability. I absolutely love it, and it's just so comfortable. Even though this is Nordico, which is, I guess, artificial leather, it's not real leather, I haven't found myself to be too hot, especially with the ventilated seats as well. And they don't feel sticky, they don't feel plasticky as well, so well done to Volvo. And the third thing I like about this car is the torque. Twin motor, ultra performance, 380 kilowatts, 910 Newton meters of torque. Honestly, as soon as you put your foot down, you're back in your seat. Honestly, like, never experienced anything like it with that amount of force. It's absolutely amazing, and I don't think I would ever get sick of it. So yeah, that's basically it. The next thing I love about this car is the fact that the second row seats just have so many levels of adjustment. And what I mean by that is the fact that you could use this to just fold it flat. You could do it here to just fully open it to enter the third row. And the fact that all these three seats, it's a 40-20-40, which means you can adjust all three of them, like what I've shown you over here, to whatever you need. Which means that, first of all, the front person can be comfortable and the back person can be comfortable, and you're not actually moving them all together at once. So I really like the fact that you can adjust that. And also on that point, with regards to second row, I also love the fact that this seat over here, you just flick it up and then click it in, and then you've got a built-in booster seat. Very, very convenient. Okay, so let's talk about some things I don't like about the Volvo EX90. Now, this is in no particular order. However, some of these things definitely will frustrate me more than some of the others. So I'm just going to go off. So let's go. So first thing I don't like about the EX90 is the fact that they have simplified something that is usually very simple and obvious. The switches. Why can't we just have two extra buttons? Why did you're only losing out on one button. How expensive is one button? That this is now tied to software. Like if I push this, this goes between front and back. So if this is back, it's just, why? Like, if I'm driving and I pull down the window, I know that I'm opening this front window over here. Why do I need to then, all of a sudden, if I need the back open, push that down? And then to push it again. It's really annoying. Just give me 4 buttons. I know you can't fix that right now, but for me personally, with kids, like, I felt like that's been quite a sore point, let's call it that. The second thing that I don't like about the EX90, actually, I'll have to start up the car, but it's to do with the buttons on the steering wheel. So let me show you. So these are the buttons on the steering wheel over here. You can see that's up, down, cruise control, change menu, auto steering, and I've explained some of this before. At night, these actually aren't lit up. So this is actually just white in color now. It's not lit up. So this is actually all black. It's pitch black, right? So imagine you're at night and you want to go volume up or down. You need to obviously feel for this and then touch this. However, what if you push this one by accident? You know, it's muscle memory. But they have actually spent the effort to put it onto screen, right? So I've put it in D. So look at it. If I put my finger on here up, you'll see that it shows up. Now look, I'm going to keep the camera on screen here and I'll actually go down. So watch what happens. And then I'll go left. So I'll go to the left and the right in a second. So look, I'll hold it on down. So you see down. I'll go left and I go right. So they've actually made it so that there's a sensor underneath here. Just give me lights. And it's the same thing here. So look at this. Menu. Up and down doesn't show me anything. The steering shows me something. But if you've got sensors in here, just put a light, please. I just found it really hard. Now maybe as a long-term owner you'll find all of this okay, but for me personally, just over the past couple of days I found it actually quite difficult to try and navigate to those things without needing to specifically look at the screen and make sure that that's what I'm looking at. Now the next thing I don't like about the EX90 is I have found the app to be a bit sporadic, a bit random. It hasn't always detected me walking up to the car, so there's been times where I've had to manually tap the key or push unlock. And on that note, actually when I do lock and unlock the car, it actually physically takes a while to lock and unlock the car. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what I mean when I say the app isn't always responsive or it's not the fastest. So this here at the moment, hopefully you can see that, says unlocked and there's a lock button. Okay, so remember you can also see here that the door handles are currently open, so they should actually close in if the car's locked. Okay, so let's do this in real time and hit lock. It's still showing locking. There you go. So now it's locked. And now it shows locked here. Now, let's actually hit unlock. So 3, 2, 1. So again, it says unlocking. There you go. So that actually took a while, and so let me show you what I mean. So if I walk away, it should be okay. So here, let's turn the camera around, let's walk away. So that's detected pretty well this time. So we'll walk back closer, let's see how quick it is this time. So as I said, it's sporadic, sometimes really, really quick. See, now it's really, really quick. So yeah, it hasn't always worked this quick and this perfectly, but sometimes it takes a long time. And so just needed you to be aware of that. All right, the next thing I don't like is just as a part of the cruise control. So yes, they've kept it very simple and there is a LiDAR sensor at the top, but you can't adjust distance. I personally like keeping a close distance between my vehicle and the next vehicle in front, but because you can't adjust it, it's just not a distance that I would prefer. And there are cars that can cut in. So I would have liked to be able to even decrease distance down to 1 car lane, but unfortunately not. It gets complex because it's Android Automotive. And what do I mean by that? So I'll give you an example. This car does not have Spotify, and I use Spotify. And so naturally, I would use Spotify via Apple CarPlay. So if I use that via Apple CarPlay, that means that Apple CarPlay controls the music, and I can still control it through the steering wheel. But if I then want to use the heads-up display, that means, and I'm usually a Google Maps person, I would have to use Apple Maps to then see it on this small screen here, to see it on the heads-up display, and then to see it on the screen. However, when I do that and I use Apple Maps because I want to see it there, I don't get to use, or I don't get to see the whole trip planning side of things. I lose that feature because that's not using the native Google Maps. So then you go, right, so then Roland, why don't you just use Google Maps? Okay, so then let's go. I use Google Maps. My music is on Spotify. I can control the music. That's fine. With Google Maps, it means I also get the trip planner, and then I also get the heads-up display. But then what if a message comes in? A SMS comes in. SMS goes to Apple CarPlay, but there's no notifications. And so that means that I actually don't get notified at all if I've got an SMS that comes in, or a message at all, WhatsApp, you name it, anything. Because I'm on the native screen, I'm on Google Maps. And so you go, right, Roland, how about you then connect via Bluetooth, don't worry about CarPlay, and then you can listen to your music. Great, I could do that, but then the music really turns into just a forward, backwards, skip. There's no menu, you can't change anything. Because it's Bluetooth only, you have to navigate through your phone. And so that defies the purpose of Apple CarPlay, not touching the phone, having Spotify there. And so you can't win. I don't have a solution for it. I feel like at this point in time, it's a one or the other. If you want trip planning, use Google. Maybe get a phone mount to control your music. I don't know. You tell me down in the comments below. Is there a fix for this? Is this a genuine problem? Or is this a first world problem? You tell me. I'm keen to hear your thoughts. But that's basically my thoughts and my challenge that I've had over the past couple of days. Time to learn about all things infotainment. So, how's the layout look like? So you've basically got some quick buttons down the bottom over here. These ones are just your last use items. Google Assistant is permanently here. Camera is always permanently here unless you select performance, which I'll show you in a moment. And in terms of the camera, you can see it's a 3D view that you get. It's actually pretty good. Then you can go front, which is there along with this. Then you can also go rear along with that. So when you go 3D, that's probably the best view that you can have if you're navigating through tight spots. There is no view for you to actually see the front wheels or just the back wheels, like in some other brands that you see. Then glove box is self-explanatory along with max defrost. Across the top, you've got your profile, time, temperature. You can swipe that down to see any notifications at the top over here. That's showing you've got Apple CarPlay, location services, and it is 5G in this car. Down over here is always your music or radio, and then jumping over to Apple CarPlay right here. And then that's your hazard lights, which you've got a physical button at the top as well. This is your car menu settings, so quick control. So as soon as you click that, you can see brightness, a couple of controls, or here, and to turn on your performance all-wheel drive. From there, you could also go to status or settings. So I'll show you status first, which just gives you general details over here. Diagnostics, just telling you when the next service is. Total distance, key tags, tire pressure, everything's okay. Car settings, so there's a whole bunch of settings that we're going to show you. So in driving, you can see driver support, steering assist, lane assist, curve speed assist. So this is what the LiDAR helps you with. Driving dynamics, one pedal driving. You've got auto, which means that activates only when it's behind other vehicles, and you can turn it off. Performance all-wheel drive basically is ensuring that it's permanent four-wheel drive. So actually this car is traditionally rear-wheel drive bias, which means it's usually a rear-wheel drive car unless it detects slip or it needs the front wheels, then it enables the front power as well. Otherwise you turn that on and you've got permanent all-wheel drive, permanent performance. But just know that it resets to off after every single drive. When you click view all, you've got one pedal drive settings, performance drive, then it expands to these three here. You've got steering feel, soft, firm, and suspension, soft and firm. That's literally all you have. Going further back, and the other one that I've missed as well, is off-road. So only available below 40 k's an hour. So you turn that on, one pedal drive goes off, and that's basically it. I don't know specifically what other settings that the car does, but you can turn that on as well. Going back, you've got then safety assistance, lane keeping aid, distraction alert, and then if you go view all, it also includes road sign information and speed limit warnings as well. You can turn that on for visual, audio, and visual as well. Definitely don't want that because it's probably going to get annoying, but either way, that's that. Then that's pretty much it from a driving side of things. So we'll go back, we'll look at controls. So different car modes, so tow mode and jack mode, then power options as well. So power options, you can actually turn the car off over here as well. Then you've got your light display, so you've got interior brightness, display brightness, view all, primary lighting, which is for the exterior of the car. You've got rear fog, adapt lights for right hand traffic, clean screen, adjust heads up display and brightness. Further down we have child locks, so this pretty much turns it on and you can click that to turn it off. Allow locking with occupants inside, you can turn that on and it just locks people inside. View all, unlock doors, all or one, auto lock while driving, reduce alarm sensitivity, unlock car when approaching, lock leaving, greeting lights, lock unlocking, all of that stuff over here. Then you've got mirrors and wipers, so low, medium, high, adjust side mirrors and also wiper service position. You turn that on, that just puts the wipers up so that you can actually change your wipers. Then we come down to steering wheel, so adjusting that just gives you the option like I showed you earlier on. You can turn off your wireless device charging, which is this pad down the bottom beneath the screen, and then you can open the glove box and open the boot. So that's controls. Sound, different sound settings. So that's the focus. If you want to divert sound to a driver or a particular passenger, you can do all of that. You've got equalizer. Now these settings over here are only part of the Bowers & Wilkins system. So 3D surround, concert hall, Abbey Road, which allows you to configure and customize a whole lot of things. It's a lot more than how I can explain it, but just know it is absolutely amazing sound system. Connectivity, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi settings. So basically just set up whatever it is that you need to set up. Charging, so current percentage, you can unlock the cable, you can go daily drive, long trip, custom, and at custom you set whatever you want, and you can also do smart schedule or manual schedules at certain locations too. For the schedule side of things, you can see here car will charge during those hours at this location. So very easy to set whatever time to whatever time you want it to work. Minimum battery level, so maintains a battery reserve when connected to a charger regardless of schedules. So that's sort of like an override. Then you've got amp limit and then plug and charge. So anything with plug and charge, if you turn it on, then it could potentially work. Okay, jumping back. So that's charging. You've then got profiles. I think that's self-explanatory. I'm not going to explain anything there, but you can basically set different profiles, seating configurations and whatnot. Privacy. Again, I'm not going to go through these ones, but that is self-explanatory. So please pause the screen and have a read if that's what you're interested in. Same thing with system. General information over here that you can change. And again, pause it anywhere you'd like to have a read in more detail, but it is an Android Automotive system. And then last one here for Google. That's it there. Now that covers off all of the car menu settings. So we'll go into the next bit here. So this is to control the left seat. So heated, cooling, temperature. I've got the same thing on the right seat as well, along with steering wheel and the sync button over here. Then this middle one here is to control all of the airflow around the car. So you've got front, which is AC. You can turn on eco, face the person, the feet, windshield demisting or defroster for the rear, front and so forth. These are just to turn on and off. your adjustments are actually next to the screens and all of the manual controls. These aren't to adjust the airflow in certain directions at all. Now, climate is on manual, auto, low, medium, high, and so forth. So you've got all of those settings over there. You can recirculate air as well. You've then also got air quality over here, which shows you in-car, outside, air quality, and pollen. So it's got all of these things here. Now, I don't know what they mean. So, I mean, they say good, so I'll take the word for it. But if you know what they mean and if there's any concerns, then obviously drop it in the comment box below. Probably be too late by the time you're reading it, but anyway. You also have focused air cleaning, so reduce in-car particles for cleaner air, deactivate when desired air quality is reached to avoid foggy windows. So that's pretty cool. Then you've also got a timer as well to start whatever it is you want for climate control. You've also got settings for auto start heating, driver seat, passenger seat, rear defroster. And jumping back to climate, the other bit as well is if you click rear, this goes into the middle row. So that's second row. You can actually turn off and on the aircon as well. And you can also turn it on and off for the third row as well. So second row and third row settings are the same. So it's 4-zone climate control, which means that this side is individual control, this side is individual control, and then these two are individually controlled as well. So that's all of the aircon settings. We'll now jump into this grid, and that's basically everything you get. Now, realistically, I don't think we need to go through all of these. Most of these are self-explanatory. Driving Journal just keeps a record of all of your drives, which I haven't enabled over here, but you can actually access all of that. And then range and trip is probably the only one that I'll go through, which means you've got current trip, since last charge, since last reset, and then you've got range assistant as well around how you could potentially drive. You can push I and you can read that, so pause the screen there if you want to read that. Then in consumption, you've got something as well. Pretty much shows the same thing, I think. Yeah. And then you've got range optimizer, so limit climate and driving performance to maximize range. Absolutely no thanks, I am keeping it on performance when I can. Now, trip information, so since last charge, so if I tick on that, it does show you more details around how you've been driving and so forth, other specs or other details. And so taking us back to here, you have user manual, you can get more apps there. I haven't connected my account, so I don't know specifically what else you can get over there, but it does look like you do have access to YouTube here within inside the car. Okay, so that's basically everything to do with the car. If you've got any questions, drop it in the comment box below. Alright, we are about to enter the highway, and what we want to test is how good is the LiDAR? How good is the distance? How good, or distance, lane keeping, whatever you want to call it, and how good is auto steering and all of that stuff. So we've got 2 cameras mounted. Hopefully you can see everything all okay. So yeah, let's go. Let's turn it on. So it's 100 zone now. We may have to merge out in a short moment, and then we'll turn on the cruise control. So remember, this car has LiDAR on top, so it's laser. It's also got heaps of sensors and all of this other magical stuff, but let's go, let's turn it on. Actually, we may merge out first before we turn it on. Okay, here we are. So, cruise control on. Now remember, if I push up quickly, it just goes by 5 kilometer increments in terms of the speed limit. If I hold it down, then up or down, then it adjusts by 1. Now, at the moment, I've already set it to 100, and we're currently doing 82 kilometers. And also, on my heads-up display, I can see the green steering wheel, and then you can also see a little arrow to the right, and that's because currently this is the maximum lane on the left. There's no further lane on the left. It's recognized as a lane on the right, so it can actually auto switch lanes to the right if I want. So all I need to do is indicate fully to the right, and you'll see that the car is actually starting to move over, and now we're accelerating more to the speed limit. So there you go, that was very easy. And now that I'm in the right lane, it's showing that it's only one indicating point to the left in terms of that green arrow. So I can only push once and then I'm out. And so let me indicate back in. And so the car knows to slow down as well, which is actually very, very good. And so what we want to test next is, what about the lane distance keeping? So if I go back out and we try to get to the speed limit, let's see what it looks like. And so far, as a summary, the moving in and out with the auto lane change, I think it's actually fairly okay. It's fairly quick, it's consistent. When it's available and I move in, it still knows to slow down. So I think that's all very, very good. So how's it maintaining speed? Look, I've set it to 100. It's gone between 99, 100 and even 101 in some instances. So 1 kilometer over, which is, I guess, somewhat okay. So we're doing 100 kilometers at the moment. Look, the car's fairly sturdy. It's all pretty good, no complaints. And just pay attention to how quiet it is in the car. It's actually not too bad. So just confirming that whilst we've been driving like this, I haven't really noticed too many niggles or wiggles on the steering wheel or any reminders and whatnot of my driving and keeping attention on the road. I think that's all quite decent. Now in terms of speed limit, the one thing that I've noticed actually that I'm not too fond of is actually we're in a 100 zone. There's no issues doing 100, but with the LiDAR, because we can't control the distance between me and the car in front, that's actually the distance. So if you look at this camera here, I'm actually only doing 93 kilometers at the moment because it senses the car in front, 94 kilometers. And so I can't control that distance. So like for me, I feel like cars are going to cut in for sure. That's probably 3 cars worth in terms of the distance, 3 or more. So now I'm slowing down to 83 kilometers, and I know the speed limit's changing, but up until this point, that was the distance. So for me, I actually think that distance is a bit too wide for my liking. And so even now, it's 80 kilometers an hour, and I know the speed will drop to 70, but that is the distance. So even at 70 kilometers an hour, the distance is still quite significant. So we're just coming off the highway now, and I guess let me just give you the summary in case you've kind of just skipped through to this part. So the long story short is we've been able to clearly go on the highway. We've done some auto lane changes. It's performed brilliantly. In terms of speed, it did go over the specific limit by 1 kilometer. Take that with a grain of salt, I guess, but you know, I haven't experienced that in my Tesla before. Okay, so we're off the highway now, and I just want to give you a quick summary. So we've tested everything, and this was just the additional test at a higher speed limit. I have been testing it at lower speed limits as well, at 80 k's an hour. We've tested the distance between the vehicle distance between myself and the car in front. We've tested the auto lane change. We've tested the auto steering as well, and cruise control in general. So how did I find it? So in terms of keeping at the speed, I think it's done okay. I'd say it's definitely not perfect, and the reason why I say it's definitely not perfect is because I set it to 100 kilometers, and there was 2 short instances where it flipped over to 101 kilometers, and even at other tests that I didn't get to record, even at 80 kilometers, there were a couple of instances where it went up to 81 kilometers. Now, is that a deal breaker? Look, potentially not, as the speedos are definitely off by a little bit, but the fact that it went over is just something that I want to report to you, and I guess share it with you also. You're across all of that. So that was that. Then in terms of the steering was perfectly fine. I didn't notice a lot of niggles, jiggles, whatever you want to call it. It didn't annoy me, for better use of words, and it felt okay. So I didn't see any reminders or anything like that, so I'm somewhat satisfied. The lane changing, I think that was actually fairly good as well. It wasn't too slow, it was fairly quick in the approach. And also when I was changing lanes to a car that I noticed was going slower, I did notice that the car was slowing down and it still allowed the lane change, which I think was actually pretty good. So no complaints from that side of things. And so it brings me back to the only issue of distance between myself and the car in front based on the LiDAR sensor. So for me personally, I think the gap is way too wide. At 100 kilometers, there's literally like a 3 or 4 car gap at minimum. And knowing that the car can't keep up, or if you're trying to do 100 kilometers and the car in front doing less than that, and you already leave, say, a 4 car gap, my concern is that what that will essentially do is it will mean that other cars will start cutting in and then you start to fall back. And because you're on cruise control, if you don't actually manually take over and increase your speed, the gap will continue to remain at that speed and cars will just keep cutting in, which means that you will keep getting pushed back further and further and further, which means you'll actually get to your destination slower. So again, that's my opinion, that's my experience. So if you've experienced something else, then let me know. But I guess one of the recommendations I'll be sending back to Volvo is potentially an option to close the distance for that lane keeping, because he actually managed it pretty well. I actually don't have complaints about how it was actually behaving on the highway. I think that was actually pretty good. So that wraps up everything in terms of the highway drive. If you have any specific questions on that, then please make sure you drop it down in the comments below. Alright, so let's summarize everything. It's been such a pleasure to drive this car is, I guess, the short version. And first of all, I just want to say a big thank you again to Volvo Car Australia for the opportunity to drive this monster of a car. I certainly did not expect to enjoy driving this car that much. And for me, the enjoyment actually was just purely because it has 910 Newton meters of torque on tap when you're in performance mode. The torque and also the massage seats. That's the two things that have just given me such positive thoughts on this car. But let's summarize a couple of key points. So size, usability, ergonomics, all of that. I think, look, size-wise, it's just over 5 meters, so it's actually smaller than a lot of people movers. And at just over 5 meters, it's pretty much the size of a lot of the large SUVs these days. So I personally think it's okay. I don't think there's an issue with that. The car actually doesn't feel too big to drive. The cameras are fantastic, having that 360 camera view. It would be good if you had additional views of just the wheels, so you don't gutter rash your wheels, but the 360 is still sufficient, I guess, for better use of words. And then with the seating position, you can actually, I've actually changed my seating position since letting my wife drive it yesterday. And this really high position actually makes you feel like you're sort of king of the road. You can definitely see a lot. So kind of enjoying that. Okay, so in terms of ergonomics, comfort and everything, I think they've hit the nail on the head. I'm really comfortable being able to adjust lumbar, get a massage, the bolsters. It just makes it a perfect fit for your body. And also you've got that adjustment beneath your legs as well for people that are taller, to push the cushion or to pull the cushion out towards your knees. I think they really nailed it. So I've been very comfortable. Also with the ventilated seats, you know, it keeps you cool, doesn't feel sticky, doesn't feel sweaty. And remember, this is not real leather, right? So the material usually would make you feel a bit hotter or sweatier, but it doesn't. So I think they've done a well done job on that. Then in terms of space and storage and everything, I think it's quite acceptable. You do have a sub-frunk, or sub-trunk, sorry, and then you also do have a frunk for storage. So that's all well and good. You do have app access for the necessities, so being able to lock, unlock, drive your car with a digital key. Servicing is covered for your 5 years. There's obviously a few things that I don't like about this car, which I've highlighted in that section, but for the most part, all of the things that I do like and enjoy about the car, I think they've all been very, very, very positive. So not too much to not like about this car actually. And also with regards to space, look, I know it's a just over 5 meter car. It's not a people mover, so we have been able to have people in the third row. And look, for the short distance, I think I was right what I originally said, which was it was definitely okay for short distance. The good side of things is because the seats adjust 40, 20, 40, you can actually make sure that you can move the seats in a way that allows the third row passenger to still be quite comfortable, which I actually really liked and actually was helpful for us. And the fact that there's already an included booster seat for me as a parent, I could put one child there, and again, with the seats that could move forward and backwards, we could kind of adjust that really, really well. And you know, let's not forget performance, because this is the top spec. 910 newtons of torque, 380 kilowatts. Like, this car just absolutely pulls. And I know I've given you the competitors for all of the EV equivalents. I actually never gave you competitors for the ICE equivalent. And funny enough, there is actually one on my right. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Maybe you'll see that on this camera here. It's that matte black one over there. It's the Audi SQ7 triple turbo diesel. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But anyway, thanks again, Volvo Car Australia, for the opportunity. Also, thank you to you as the viewer. Thank you to my channel subscribers, my channel members, my coffee supporters, anyone else who's watching this video. I always appreciate anything that you do in terms of watching, commenting, and so forth. And that's also why I make videos this long, because I want to make sure that you as the viewer understand potential ownership, or you're just interested in the car. So as always, if you have any feedback at all, please do feel free to drop it in the comment box below. Otherwise, thank you again, take care, and we'll see you soon.